Where do I begin?
Get on the bright side now. Hell, I'll give it a try.
2020 has been so strange. That's not new news to anybody. I have really wanted to film for you guys and upload. I have really wanted to ensure that I wasn't romanticizing life right now because it's not ideal. In general, I feel like the inherent purpose of vlogs is to romanticize your life, to make it feel more interesting, to make it something that would entertain people and make them want to watch for 15 minutes. And I just haven't felt like there is anything in my life currently that is worth idealizing. My life has been a lot of just sitting at home. I started Gilmore Girls again. Gilmore Girls is the perfect depression show. It's so nostalgic for me. Finished that way too quickly. I forced myself to buy a book finally, which has been a really actual nice way for me to unwind. I'm sure other people can relate, but when I'm feeling anxious and depressed, I find it very hard to like make myself want to do anything other than be lazy. So like even getting myself to read was a very hard thing to do. I think most of my time I spend at my desk working. Another beautiful work from home outfit. This is how I check to see if I'll look presentable enough throughout the day. I think that's fine. Do I wear the sweater a few times every week? Yes. Do I care? Not particularly, no.
I need anything not to be lonely.
The biggest accomplishment for sure for me this year was getting a new job. I started a new job in June, and that was like my biggest goal for the year. I just quit my job. Having heart palpitations. Originally I wanted to like move with the job, and I was planning to, but COVID. But leaving a job that feels really comfortable, that you're good at, that you feel secure and safe and is predictable is so fucking scary. And I'm so thankful I did it though. It like was no longer fulfilling for me, and I wasn't sure that this new job would be that, but it's so nice working with people who actually give a fuck about you and to work on something new. I'm doing the same work I did before. I like the work I do. It's just nice to have change and to have a new challenge. That is harder to come by than you would think in the adult world. My mom got a Peloton in September, and I had a good like 2 months where I was really fucking obsessed with it.
Hey Peloton, what's going on? I'm Hannah Frankson. What's going on? My name is Hannah Frankson, and we are here together for a 20
My fave. Oh my god, I'm drenched in sweat. I have an obsessive personality, and I just like get hyper obsessed with things, and like all of the things, I stopped being obsessed with it and reverted back into my yoga and strength training instead.
Shifting side to side. Right knee, left elbow, make contact. Arms gaze over your right fingertip.
That's like the one thing that's occupied my time, working out and working. I'm also seeing one friend. She's the only person in my household's bubble and vice versa. Hallie. I haven't been outside in 2 weeks. Like, I have not even taken a breath of fresh air in 2 weeks. But I am about to go do it. Wow. Beautiful. The flash doesn't look quite as good. It's really rare, I think, as an adult to find like strong friendships where you feel super supported by those people. At least it's been something that has been harder for me, and I feel really lucky to have that. I also feel really lucky to be able to spend so much time with my parents, as hard as it is like being home.
Amazing.
I've never spent so much time with my parents since I moved out like 7 or 8 years ago. And I know I'll look back on that and cherish it. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the last like half of quarantine has been much harder than the first half. Maybe it was because I was just like naively optimistic about the future. It is officially week 5 of working from my parents' house. I guess it's encouraging that it's already week 5 and maybe we're halfway through. But for some reason there was always like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like going back to work, it was always like 4 weeks from now, another 5 weeks from now, September. And then eventually we all like finally admitted to ourselves that that just like wasn't gonna happen, and they were like June 2021. And suddenly like the light disappeared at the end of the tunnel. And to bring this metaphor really home, having it never be fucking light out anymore has made it so that my entire life just revolves around like waking up and working, and then like the sun goes down and I'm exhausted anyways, and it's so easy to just like crawl back into bed. But I've been trying really hard to pull myself out of it. I feel like going into 2020 I had a very clear vision or idea of what 2020 would look like for me. I was like going through a tough time definitely at the end of the year, but I was so sure of what the next year held for me and like so confident on what my next steps would be. And I think it took me a while to like mourn the fact that that like vision I had was just like not realistic. I think it took me moving home into my parents' house when my lease ended, and to be like physically separated from my old life, surrounded by the walls I grew up in the middle of fucking nowhere, and nothing really to be responsible for outside of work, that it kind of hit me and it was tough. I feel like we should look at the goals I set for myself in 2020. Have a giggle. I spiraled a little bit reading through my journal last night because I really only write when I need to get myself out of a spiral, so it's full of really depressing things. Okay, last year my goals. The first was be more comfortable talking to strangers / people I don't know well, start conversations more. I'm a very shy person. I normally don't put myself out there to create the conversation. So I don't really know that I've had the chance to accomplish this year, so maybe we'll carry that into next year. My next goal is to move to New York City and get a new job there. I got a new job in San Francisco instead, so we're just gonna call that a win. Take a week off of social media every quarter. No, I spend more time than ever because there's nothing really else to do. Drink less alcohol, especially during the week, and I also wrote try being sober for a month. I have definitely stopped drinking. I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. I think I did like 28 days sober in September. But yeah, I used to go out a lot after work and just consume too much alcohol and say things I shouldn't say. So I think I accomplished that. I wrote find a hobby outside of work / the gym, preferably something creative. I had all the time in the world to find a hobby, but I don't think I did. I just didn't have it in me this year to feel inspired. I started painting a little bit. I bought gouache paint, and that's fun. I had a lot more zest for life when I was living on my own, so I did that more often. But I've been painting a little bit, but I don't know that I'd say I have a fully formed hobby, so I'm gonna pull this one into next year as well. I think it's a goal I've made for 2 years and I have yet to accomplish it. There are 3 things I have though that I want to do. I want to paint more. I want to take more film photos because I think that's really fun, and I want to learn to knit because why not? Use less plastic. I never go outside, so I think I probably accomplished that on accident. Be more comfortable expressing my feelings, especially the good ones. This is something I really struggle with. I think I'm just a pessimistic person, so I really express like frustration easily, and like the way I relate to people is through like annoyances and speaking about those. And I think I rarely express gratitude towards people, even my friends and my family. I don't think I've gotten better at that, if I'm gonna be honest. This year's been hard. It's hard to think of good things, but I think that's a good goal to pull into next year too. I wrote go on a trip. I actually did manage to accomplish this. I went to Puerto Rico at the end of February. and I got back like the week before lockdown started. And I'm so grateful for that. Puerto Rico was amazing, and I'm really glad we snuck that in. And last I wrote stick to a budget and track my spending. I am terrible with my own money. My job is literally just to figure out how we can spend other people's money, so I hate thinking about it for myself. I've always hated thinking about my own money. I used to like never look at my bank account, and I went into 2020 and I was like, I'm gonna stick to a budget, and I looked at my bank account and I had $750 to my name. No savings account, no credit card, spending more than I earned. So I wanted to track my spending and actually stick to a budget, and I did do that until COVID happened, and then I didn't spend anything. And now that I don't pay rent, I have like no expenses other than my car and when I buy food and Amazon Prime. So I've saved a shit ton of money, and that feels great. It also helps that I got a new job that pays me adequately for my skill set. Next year, my goal is to continue to save money, because it's nice having a safety net, but I don't think that means I can just like stop altogether. So I think I'm gonna call it quits on this journal. I've got like this much left of it, and part of me wants to finish it out. I started it in 2017. Oh, this is 2016 when I turned 21, the day after my birthday. I feel like I just need to close out this chapter of my life. I'm gonna write down those goals in a new journal, and maybe 2021 will be great. I think the light at the end of the tunnel has returned, and that is a comforting feeling. I am gonna go celebrate New Year's Eve with my friend Hallie. We're gonna make dumplings and drink, and that's it. Happy New Year, guys.